In today's intermediate grammar lesson, we're going to talk about the difference between enough and to. Hello and welcome to another video. My name's Alex. In today's lesson, we're going to compare enough and to. We're going to start by talking about the meaning of these words, and then we're going to talk about the grammar of them and how we actually use them in practice with lots of examples, so keep on watching. Okay, so let's talk about the meaning to begin with, and we're going to start with enough. Okay, so enough we use when we have sufficient of something, when we have the right amount of something, or not in a negative sentence. Okay, so if we look at a couple of example sentences here, you can say, I have enough time. I have sufficient time. I have the right amount of time. Or in a negative sentence, we can say, I don't have enough money. So we can see here in the positive sentence, I have enough time. This is in a positive sense. We have sufficient, we have the right amount of time to do what we need to do, and I don't have enough money. There we switch that, and that's a negative sense. So you don't have the right amount, you don't have sufficient time, so you don't have sufficient money to be able to buy what you want. Okay, and we use to when we want to say that we have more than sufficient. So more than enough, or more than the right amount. So this is used in a negative sense, and that's something to bear in mind here. So a couple of sentences we could have with to is, I have too much time. So I have more than I need, or I have too much money. I don't know if anybody's ever said that, but you know, it's an example sentence anyway. Okay, let's look at some differences in how we use them and talk about the grammar of these words. So the first thing to point out is that enough goes before adjectives and adverbs. So an example could be, I can't run that far, I'm not fit enough. So I'm not sufficiently fit, I don't have the fitness to be able to do that, so I can't run that far, I'm not fit enough. And we can see in this sentence here, it comes after the adjective fit. I'm not fit enough. Okay, and the difference here is that to comes before adjectives and adverbs. So an example sentence for this could be, you should take a break, you're working too hard. You should take a break, you're working too hard. So here we have to before the adjective hard. Okay, so there we were talking about adjectives and adverbs, so let's focus on placement with nouns now. So enough goes before nouns. For example, do we have enough petrol? Do we have the right amount of petrol? Do we have sufficient petrol? All these same meanings. So we've got it before the noun petrol. Do we have enough petrol? We can also use too much or too many before nouns as well. So we can say there's too much furniture in this room. Remember, that's got a negative meaning. There's too much, there's more than enough, there's more than we need, there's more than sufficient. There's too much furniture in this room. You can't move anywhere, for example. There's too much furniture in this room. Okay, and if we think about prepositions as well for a minute, with enough or to, we can say enough for somebody or something. Okay, so you can say, do you have enough experience for this job? Do you have enough experience for this job? So for something in this case. Okay, or with to, we could say, this shirt is too small for you. So for somebody, this shirt is too small for you. So in both these cases, we can use enough and to with for. But if we want to use a verb after it, we need to use the infinitive. So it's enough or to do something. So for example, she isn't old enough to vote. She isn't old enough to vote. So there's an example of the infinitive after it. Or she's too young to drive a car. She's too young to drive a car. And we can also put together these two structures, the preposition and the infinitive, and look at one sentence with both of these things. We can say the couch isn't big enough for 3 people to sit on. The couch isn't big enough. So here we see enough after the adjective, big for somebody, for 3 people to sit on with a verb after it. So we see a coming together of all of these different structures, or many of these different structures that we've been talking about here. The couch is big enough for 3 people to sit on. Okay, and one more example to look at, okay? So look at this sentence. The food was so hot that we couldn't eat it. The food was so hot that we couldn't eat it. So what I want to do is try to take the sentence and use to in the sentence, T-O-O, like we've been looking at in this sentence. And I want to focus on what we do with the object here, the pronoun it. So it in the sentence, the food was so hot that we couldn't eat it, is the food. We couldn't eat the food. It, we've replaced it with the pronoun it. So if we want to use to in this sentence, notice how it changes. So we'd say the food was too hot to eat. Did you notice what disappeared? Yes, the pronoun it. We don't need that. We don't need to repeat it in this case. So we say the food was so hot that we couldn't eat it, but the food was too hot to eat. I hope you learned enough about these 2 words and not too much. If you did, please hit the like button, subscribe to my channel. Also, remember to follow me on social media, check out my website, learnenglishwithalex.com. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.